Welcome all you ferocious marketers, executives, and business owners. Today, we're going to be diving into how to 10x your website conversions using the Funnel GPT AI Playbook. Buckle up. Let's get into it. So I want to start today by talking to you about digital marketing, because that's become such a loaded term. See, marketers today have a constantly growing list of responsibilities, metrics, and KPIs that we're responsible for within our organization. That's everything from our clicks, likes, views, shares, impressions, and followers, and the list goes on and on and on. And if we didn't think that was enough, well, now we have a new amplification of AI, right? A frenzy of more content, more automations, more integrations, and more of these metrics that we're trying to keep in orbit while they're increasing exponentially. And truthfully, it feels a lot like controlled chaos. Can you agree with me on that? Good, because while all of these metrics are important, we're not here to talk about any of these. Today, we're here to talk about what I believe to be the most important moment in marketing. This is when all of that chaos and noise come to a head, and it creates a tipping point, a moment when someone is moved and inspired to finally take action. We're here to actually talk about conversion. You see, my background is in conversion marketing, which is the art of increasing the percentage of people who engage with your brand online that actually convert into a lead, a sale, or a customer. It's really the metric that matters most, because every business has a conversion goal, right, of what you're trying to inspire that visitor to do, whether that's to schedule a tour, to book a demo, request a quote, buy a product, attend this webinar, donate for a cause. Whatever your conversion goal is for your audience, what you really need is a funnel. See, we've developed the Funnel Playbook that's based on 15 years of research. So we study user behavior, trends, and patterns, as in what does it take to get an anonymous visitor to take that step, to pull out the credit card, to fill out that form. And now this playbook is infused with AI. And it's currently generating over 10,000 conversions per month for our clients using this Funnel Playbook. And luckily for you, this is going to be something that you're going to be able to implement in your business after today. Sound fair? Awesome. So before we unpack, quick introductions are in order. So my name's Johnny Hughes. I'm based out of Orlando, Florida, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Avenue Z. We're a strategic communications and marketing advisory. And my job is to help brands really achieve that next level of growth for their business. And this is my counterpart, Tina, who's the real strategic brain behind the magic of what we do. Tina?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Tina Fleming. I'm the Director of Strategy here at Avenue Z. And my role is actually to lead the strategists across multiple marketing channels who are using AI every day in our activities. And we've actually taken a lot of inspiration of what we're going to show you here today in this presentation from the work that they've been doing. So let's dive in. You may have used ChatGPT before, but we need to answer the question, what is Funnel GPT? So around November 2023, ChatGPT opened up a new feature where you can create custom GPTs. So if you haven't used that before, you can actually train these in anything you want. And we took the fundamentals of what we've learned over the past 15 years, and we created this playbook and then trained the custom GPT with the playbook. We gave it the brain. And thus, we've created Funnel GPT. And you're going to get access to this tool. If you stick around to the end, or if you fast forward, I suppose, you're going to get access to that new AI marketing assistant at the end of our talk. So let's be honest. Before you came to this video today and you clicked play, think to yourself and ask yourself, how comfortable are you in using AI in your marketing? On your everyday marketing activities? Just take a moment to think about that. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the absolute worst, super uncomfortable, maybe even afraid, all the way to 10 being a total pro, using it every day, super comfortable. And the truth is that growth isn't supposed to be comfortable. And the reality is that AI is here. You can try to stick your head in the sand and try to make it go away, but the reality is that it won't. It is here. And it's normal in the life cycle of adoption. When something new happens, there's going to be people who jump on that immediately and start using it. But If you're trying to wait it out, see how other people are using it first, and you're not actively pushing forward to grow and use AI to either make your work more efficient, launch your funnels quicker, or produce more conversions, really amplifying what you're doing in your day-to-day, another company will, and some of us already are. But the great news is that after you watch this video today, no matter what you rate it as your comfort level, we're going to increase that comfort level. So what we're going to be learning today in the workshop are three main things. We've got a packed session for you. And by the end of this talk, you're going to learn how to build a winning MVP funnel with AI as your guide. You're going to learn how to scale it. And then when you stick around to the end, we're going to give you access to that AI tool that we created called Funnel GPT. So let's dive into funnels. So we need to answer the question, what is a conversion funnel? And it's a sequence of steps that you've identified as the key moments that the user progresses through in order to make their journey from being an anonymous user all the way to being a lifelong customer. So here's an example of a funnel. And I want you to take a moment to think to yourself about the types of funnels that you're working with in your day-to-day. You might be in an e-commerce situation where your users can instantly become customers, or you might be in a lead generation situation where you're collecting that information and then eventually they'll become a customer at the end of that marketing cycle. So the great thing about funnels is that they can work for both types of those situations. And really, no matter what business you have, you're going to have a few commonalities that happen like this funnel. And you may have new users coming in to check out your site or your funnel, maybe returning users who have already met you before and they're reacquainting themselves with the brand. Those are considered traffic. Then you get down into your actual conversions. Maybe someone is signing up for your newsletter, becomes a subscriber. Maybe they make their first purchase. Maybe they're coming back and they love your brand so much they're doing a repeat purchase. And eventually, as we hope all of our users will someday be, they become an ambassador for your brand. Good marketers see consumers as complete beings with all the dimensions that real people have. And the first thing you need to know about building your funnel is that it all starts with your audience. If you build something, it's working great for your brand, and you're like, hey, I want to copy and paste that and move it to a new audience. If you don't change anything about it and you assume it's going to work with this new group of people that you don't really know yet, you've already failed. Because good marketers see consumers as complete beings with all of the dimensions that real people have. And we know that real humans don't go from A to B to C. We go up, down, sideways, we backtrack, we skip 2 steps ahead, and the user journey looks a little bit more like this. And we know this, we're real humans. We buy online every day, we talk to people every day, and it's complex. And your journey is going to differ depending on your business model and your ideal audience. So what you need to know as a takeaway from this is that regardless of how much or how little you're using AI, it needs to connect back with a real human on the other side of the screen. So let's build the funnel. 4 things are always going to be happening when you're building out the fundamentals of your funnel: brand, traffic, leads, and sales. And through this AI playbook, we're going to show you how to build out that funnel and then scale it with Funnel GPT. So now I'm going to pass it over to Johnny to walk through the very foundation of it all, brand.
Thanks, Tina. Let's talk about brand. You see, your brand is more than a name, more than your logo. It's a feeling that's made up of numerous interactions that you have with a company. And it's really the aura that surrounds your funnel, and it influences every stage of the conversion process. And for your funnel to be successful, we need our brand to be very authentic and clear, meaning that we truly understand our customer, we know what their problem is, and we can communicate how we can help them solve that problem. But it's all about building trust with the right people. Because if people like you, they'll listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. That's a quote from the great Zig Ziglar. So what I have here is 6 website regions that have proven to help build trust with your brand that you can apply on your website or your landing page. And it starts with your hero. Your hero is the header of what that user sees, which is above the fold, before they make any decisions to scroll. And it's the most critical aspect of your landing page or your website. Actually, 70% of all decision-making happens at this junction. So, should I leave or should I scroll? What we need to include on this section is to clearly state what we do, how you can help me, and a call to action. Next are our benefits. How does your product or service actually benefit me, right? How does it improve my life? These are benefits. These are not features. So it's not about anti-lock brakes and four-wheel drive. No, it's about keeping my family safe as I drive across the country. Okay. So next we have our risks. So what's at risk if I never actually act to solve this problem? Like, what if I never move forward? What would I be in the fear of missing out on? Next, we want to include social proof. This is showing me that you actually have the authority to help me solve my problem. That's helping you demonstrate that you've helped others like me. So that can be using testimonials or reviews or certifications, a third-party validation that gives me confidence that your company can actually help me overcome this challenge. Next, we have user empathy. Do you really understand my problem? Because your business exists to help people like me overcome this challenge. And I really, truly want to believe that. Because when I believe that and I can authentically relate to you, you become that reliable solution for me. And then finally, that leads us to this action plan. Now that you've earned that trust, my confidence, now I want to tell you what exactly the steps that you're going to take in order for you to succeed in solving that problem, right? So it's typically a series of 3 to 5 steps of what happens next. So we put a form on the bottom of the page and we assume people are going to fill that out. But the reality is, if I don't know where my information's going or I don't know what happens next, I have more friction. I'm more unlikely to actually take that step. So what I like to do is give you a breakdown of how these regions could be applied with a fictitious website wireframe, right? So this is a send gem. It's a fake rock humming gem. But when we look at this wireframe, what we have is at the very top right, we have our primary call to action, which is sign up for a class. Okay, so in North America, we read from left to right. So that primary call to action is that top of the stage of where our iFlow goes. And we want to be very specific with an action verb on what we want that user to take, which in this case is sign up for a class, right? We're not saying click here or learn more or something vague. We're being very specific. Next, we want to provide a very clear what you do heading. Rock climbing for beginners. I know exactly what this is and I know exactly who it's for. Clear messaging, right? And I want to support that messaging with visualization. So I'm going to visualize success. So we could show a woman that's smiling while she's doing a rock climbing wall, right? I want to help them see themselves in that setting so that it can really support the overall message of our statement and our hero. And then we're going to reinforce that with another call to action. That is the same call to action that we're going to have consistently throughout this page. And then finally, our benefits. Have fun safely, join a community, push yourself, right? These are all the benefits that they will experience from their perspective, not ours. So then as I scroll, I'm going to identify, well, what is that risk? Well, life's too short to not push towards your potential. That's what would be at risk if they never decided to take that action. And I like to support that risk of indecision with showing what that future state could look like. It might be of somebody doing a more advanced rock climbing wall. It helps them understand, oh, wow, I can grow. I can progress here beyond where I am today. And again, we're going to reinforce that primary call to action. And then finally, introduce that action plan. You're going to sign up for a free class. You're going to meet with a private instructor. And then you're going to find a monthly class schedule that works for your lifestyle. It's a simple concept, but what we've done is we've helped that brand establish clear trust and align with those needs to help make sure that they can fulfill the conversion activity of that page. So wireframes are great, but I want to take us into the real world. Okay, so I'm sure that you might recognize this brand, but if you don't, this is the Girl Scouts. Okay, so Girl Scouts, this is a global sisterhood that's been around for over 100 years. Okay, it's like one of the most iconic American brands. And this is specifically one of the local chapters that's based out of New York. Okay, and currently the hero message that they have on this website is renew your membership. So if we're using the same philosophy that you just learned, we want to identify how do we make sure that we're establishing trust with that audience? And then in the way this is currently structured, it's implying that I or either have to already be in a member because I'm renewing one. I might have missed the window to enroll. I might be renewing the membership of my Girl Scout cookies. It's really unclear, right? And if we only have 3 seconds to make a brand impression, that could be a problem, right? So what we want to do is use Funnel GPT to help us really analyze this web page and make some recommendations how we can improve the brand messaging. So what you'll see is that Funnel GPT, first it's going to be doing its brand research. So we're going to feed it the URL, and it's trained to be able to analyze this data and this information, specifically following this playbook. Then we're going to be able to provide it with information and a screenshot of our website so we can actually analyze what kind of messaging we have now so we can make some recommendations. And so what it's doing here, I'm going to then actually ask it, can you format this for me in a table format that I can actually be able to easily present that back to my designer so they can translate that into the real world. So as you can see, this is an update that improves the overall brand messaging, specifically utilizing the information we got back from Funnel GPT. So we went from renew your membership to empowering girls to lead, learn, and grow. We have a clear call to action to join today, making sure that we're showing that we're inclusive, and that's what we really want the user to do. We're talking through the benefits to find your forever friends, develop leadership skills, make a difference in your community. And we're also embedding social proof, right? The fact that they're in 92 countries, that 50% of female leaders are actually Girl Scout alum, and they actually contribute 75 million hours of community service each year. So you can see this is a great concept of how we can use Funnel GPT to take an iconic brand and actually improve the overall messaging with just a few bits of information that we fed it. And so what we have here is a series of different types of prompts that you can use with Funnel GPT, specifically on how you can improve your brand messaging. So now that you know the importance of brand, Tina's going to talk about how do we find those visitors and drive them into our funnel.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. So the first thing you need to know about traffic is that it's all about gaining visibility on your brand. But not all traffic is good traffic. You have different channels of traffic coming through, whether it's organic search, paid media, maybe it's a new audience you're trying to find, you're prospecting, or maybe you're retargeting old audiences and you want to re-engage. But the real question is how much traffic do you need to hit your goals? And in order to figure that out, we need to start at the primary KPI for your business and work backwards. So here's that funnel again. As an example, this B2B lead generation company wants to sign on 30 new customers this year. And so we can figure out, after we've identified all these different steps of the funnel, that if we just work backwards, we can work all the way back up to traffic. So in order to generate 30 new customers, we know we need to generate 150 quotes. And then you go so on and so on. And we eventually figured out we need 50,000 visitors to this funnel to generate 30 customers this year. So here's a real world example. This is Texas Back Institute. It's a spine care physician, and their business exists because they're trying to help people with their back problems. They need to find the right people who are experiencing that back pain and then gain visibility with the potential customer. So we performed an audit on their traffic using an SEO tool, and we did an analysis of the traffic mix and used Funnel GPT to provide some recommendations on how to better optimize it. So here's how we did it. What you see here is Funnel GPT actually analyzing the different funnel steps that we gave it for this example. And it's analyzing the different traffic performance, how it progresses down the funnel, and then it recommends a better traffic mix by percentage that's going to help us hit the company's goals. And then further, after we refined that percentage of traffic coming from each of those different phases, we gave it a budget, and it actually recommended us a marketing budget by traffic channel. That helps us break down how do we spend our marketing dollars to better achieve an optimized traffic mix. And then finally, it gave us that breakdown by every single channel that we refined as we go through this process, because as we've said, this isn't perfect. You still need that human touch. But at the end of the day, we were able to get a better optimized traffic mix. So this was the first traffic mix, as you can see on the left side here. And what we were finding is that 80% of the traffic coming into the website was coming from organic search. And the problem with that is that, that's really volatile. If anything happens on Google, there's any algorithm updates, that's 80% of your traffic that could be affected in a blink. So what we were able to do is provide recommendations on how to better diversify that traffic, and not only diversify it to make it less volatile, but find new avenues where we can drive in traffic from audiences that we may have not engaged with yet. So using Funnel GPT, we were able to analyze that traffic data and then make a recommendation on how to better utilize our marketing budget to double this website's traffic. And here are some example prompts related to traffic that you can use for Funnel GPT for your own brands. Awesome. So now that we have a clear brand message, we've driven traffic into the funnel, now we're going to talk about how to actually inspire those audiences to take action, and Johnny's going to show us how.
Let's talk about leads. So how do we actually convert those clicks into leads? Well, first we have to understand that all of our users are not in the same state, right? So they could be in different stages of the buyer's journey. They could be just becoming aware of their problem, or they could be at the final stages of making that decision. And that requires us to think differently about how we tailor our conversion strategy. We also have to recognize the traffic channels in which they're coming from, right? Because the way I would buy a product from TikTok shops is a lot different than how I would engage with a brand when I'm doing my research to finding a new primary care physician for my family, right? So we have to tailor our offers and the user journey around those parameters, okay? But it all revolves around our customer, okay? And when it comes to the conversion psychology, it really comes down to understanding what our customer's real problem is. And we need to provide them with a valuable solution, taking a step towards solving that problem and reduce the friction and really call them into action. So let's see some of this in action, right? So this is Warby Parker. And if you haven't ever bought a pair of glasses from them, you may have heard of them. But really, Warby Parker has revolutionized this process of buying eyeglasses. Right. So this is traditionally something that you would have to do in a brick and mortar store, where you would drive into VisionWorks or something and try on 5 different pairs. And that's how you got your glasses. But if you took a brand like this and they understand that the consumers have changed, right? And COVID is a great example where we might not have had that same luxury of going to the brick and mortar stores. So what they did is they focused on a singular problem, which was trying on 5 frames without leaving home. It's easy, free. Oh, and that includes shipping. And here's a quiz to actually help you find your frames that's going to fit your lifestyle. Right? So talk about how a brand could really align around that customer problem and be the hero in that moment. When it comes to leads, we leverage lead magnets or different types of offers in a way of exchanging value for information. And there's a variety of different types, but this would be an example of different types of examples of top of funnel things, right? During the awareness phase, where they're starting to really educate themselves on what they're doing and what their needs are. There's different types of lead magnets for consideration when they're starting to evaluate their problems and different options that they have, right? It could be calculators or webinars. And then that final stage in the decision process, that's when we really want to be there when they're ready to take that step, request that demo, to go through that deep case study or maybe a free trial. So let's talk about Country Meadows. See, when I was in high school, my dad had the difficult decision to place my grandmother in a senior living facility. And I'm not sure if you have gone through something like that, but it was a really emotional process for him. And really it really cascaded down into our family. It's a big decision and something that you don't take lightly. And it wasn't just about finding the right community, but it's also about how do you have those conversations with her? And so if you've ever found yourself in those types of shoes, it's important to remind yourself that our users have real problems that they're going through, real emotional states when they're coming in to these funnels. And so we want to make sure that we're able to align those values and be there for them in that moment. So let's put ourselves in my dad's shoes for a minute. Okay, so you've heard great things about Country Meadows, so their brand. You've done your research and you've landed on their website, traffic, but now you're seeing that they offer 10 different types of retirement communities, and you're really unsure of what the different community would be right for her, and you're not sure what to do next, right? So that little bit of friction could actually be a stopping point that's going to prevent a conversion. So what we want to do is let's turn to Funnel GPT to see how we can establish a lead gen funnel that can help them do just that. So we're always going to start with brand research, so that way Funnel GPT can really understand who our customers are and what we're trying to accomplish in terms of the brand values. Then I wanted to actually generate some funnel ideas, make some recommendations on what it feels would be the right fit for what we're trying to accomplish. And then just like anything, we want to really refine that, right? We want to make sure that we're able to take what we see that's working, refine that with Funnel GPT, and treat that as it's another member of our team, right? Provide us another list of alternative quiz titles, and then give us the type of formatting, again, that we need to be able to take that back to our team for implementation. So here's the result. So one of the funnel ideas that Funnel GPT came up with was to create a senior care lifestyle quiz, right? So this would be an example of a customized landing page. So it could be for the family member or the caregiver. And our message is tailored care for every stage of senior life, right? But the offer is a senior living selector, right? A guided quiz, which could be a method that could help them really educate themselves on finding the right community that fits those needs. It's a low commitment offer, but it really helps solve an immediate problem that user might have, which is creating real value for them in the moment. And it's going to help create that trust and momentum by generating that lead, right? So we can also utilize things like slide-ins. So on the bottom right, you can see that little slide-in, but we'd introduce things like that on a blog or related pages when it would be timely for us to introduce that with the clear call to action that we're making consistent on each of these pages. So additional prompts that you can use for driving more leads through Funnel GPT. And now that you understand some of the methods on how we can turn that traffic into leads, Tina's going to talk about, well, how do we turn those leads into customers?
So let's talk about sales. Now that marketing has captured that lead, we need to seal the deal with sales. And the key here to closing this marketing loop is knowing your sales cycle. If we're able to understand our customer's journey to close that deal, this is where the ROI happens. And now think back to what we talked about earlier. Is your funnel more of an e-commerce situation where your leads can instantly turn into customers? Or is it a lead generation situation that might have a long, drawn-out decision-making process that could take 6 months to a year? What you need to remember about whatever situation that you're in, that journey doesn't stop at the conversion. It's all about how you communicate with that lead until the moment that they become a customer and then beyond to ambassador. So here's a real-world example of a brand that does an awesome job of having a really great two-way communication with their customer base. Spotify, they started out as a humble music brand. You know, they had commercials, they had a premium version, but after being able to discover who their audiences truly are and then starting that cadence of communication, they've continued to evolve their brand, launching new features, and they're aligning themselves with how their customers like to use their product. Great active listening. And you can do the same thing with your business. Here's a brand that we selected called NewFi Lending. They're a financing company, and they have a great brand presence online. In fact, they actually have a ton of great reviews available online as well. What you'll see here is valuable information that the customer has willingly given us for free. This is all the information that we can capture about a brand, and then using Funnel GPT, we can analyze that. So what we did here with Funnel GPT is we took all that information from the online reviews and we analyzed it. We compiled all of it, and then we had Funnel GPT identify methods to actually improve our sales process so that we can better suit our customers' needs moving forward. It's all about improving the customer experience every step of the way. And one of the ways that we were able to do that is by looking at the current booking process. So here we've identified this pain point that it takes a really long time to hear back sometimes when we're trying to go through this sales process. And right now, if I'm a user coming to this application, I could put my information in here and I'm not really sure what's going to happen next. So one of the ways that we can improve this is by revamping this form experience. So what we did here is we not only actually explained what's going to happen after you submit that information, but we made it a really easy 3-step process. If you remember back when we were talking about brand, this is the action plan of that sales process. So 1, you're submitting your information. 2, you talk to that loan officer. and then finally you get approved. So not only are we telling them what's about to happen, but we're also answering the pain point of it taking a really long time to hear back after submitting the information. We've put the power back into the user's hand by immediately allowing them to schedule a meeting, and they know when the meeting's going to be, who it's with, and then finally they're going to actually get this confirmation page, which tells them, yes, your appointment has been scheduled, your application has been received, and it gives them peace of mind knowing that the next step is very clear. And that's just one way where we can ease any of that friction and unsure opportunities with the customer. So finally, here are a few sales-related prompts that you can use with Funnel GPT to not only analyze your customer reviews, but also identifying new strategies that you can do to enhance your customer experience. All right, so we've gone through a lot. We've talked about brand as the foundation. How do we drive traffic and visibility on that brand? Inspiring the user to take action and convert, and then finally sealing the deal with sales. So now it's time to launch our MVP funnel, and Johnny's going to walk us through that.
Yeah, so when we're talking about that MVP funnel, it's really, as she said, we have strong brand messaging. We can drive that traffic, convert that traffic into leads, and those are turning into customers. But why is it called MVP? So MVP stands for minimal viable product, right? So that's actually a software term. But what it's designed to do is to be able to take the minimal amount of steps that we need to take to have confidence that this works. It's all about launching faster, getting to market, and really knowing that the fact that nothing actually happens until we get launched. So that's why we turn to AI to really help us do that faster and more efficiently. But when it comes to that MVP funnel, we get asked all the time, like, well, when is it time to actually scale? And scaling can only occur when when your MVP funnel has a predictable and profitable result, right? And so this is all based on your target performance metrics. It could be your CPA, your cost to acquire the customer, or your MER, your marketing efficiency ratio. And it really varies greatly around so many aspects of your product and your business and your budget. But it all boils down to your funnel, your MVP funnel. You have to be hitting your ROI target, and you have to be able to be confident that it's consistent enough to start branching out. Because when you branch out and start to scale, that's where we're going to find new learnings and new opportunities to build from. But remember, not all audiences convert the same. So here's a real world example of our MVP funnel, right? So this is our Florida digital marketing agency landing page. And this has actually gone over 25 different A/B tests on this page. And we have a high degree of confidence in its ability to convert, right? So we understand the conversion rates predictably between our organic rankings and our paid advertising. And that gives us confidence of knowing that it costs us $250 per lead, right? So we have a CPL of $250 on this funnel. But what happens then, right? So once they become a lead, 70% of those people make it to a discovery meeting, right? And that's a meeting where our sales team can actually understand their goals, talk about our services, and see if we're a good fit. And then of the people who attend that meeting, 50% of those are going to receive a proposal. And of the ones that receive a proposal, our sales team closes 25% of them. And that gives us a cost to acquire that customer, a cost per customer of $2,775, right? So that is a dialed in MVP funnel. And so this is a great opportunity to turn to Funnel GPT to help us identify scaling opportunities. So what we want to do is feed it that information, right? I want it to help analyze that overall performance and make sure that it understands everything it has to know about me. Then I wanted to make some recommendations on different types of methods on where to scale and how. So I'm actually going to have it recommend some different markets that have similarities to Florida and what I need to consider within understanding that type of demographic, audience, and location. So what we did, we actually launched and scaled that funnel into 3 key markets. We have Georgia, New York, and Texas. So in Georgia, we had a cost per customer of $3,600. In New York, it was $8,400, and in Texas, $4,500. So our performance metric was anything under $5,000 to acquire a customer is a win for us. So that means we want to elevate the winning funnels and we want to eliminate the ones that didn't work so we can move fast and continue to build upon that momentum. So additionally, there's more prompts that you can use when it comes to scaling. And with all the information that we've covered today, I want to leave you with some words of wisdom here. As Tina mentioned, AI is here, right? And you need to educate yourself around the fact that there are certainly so many ways that this can improve your life and build efficiencies. But there's also drawbacks and issues and potential liabilities that come from it. But it's certainly not something that you can ignore, right? And we always have the need for a human-powered operator. So I don't want you to see this tool as some sort of magic bullet to replace your team. No, this is a method to adapt and to evolve how we work. Right? So I want you to look at this as yet another great innovation that mankind can use to power our ideas faster and larger. So what we have for you here is a QR code that you can use to scan, and it's going to give you direct access to Funnel GPT. So as Tina mentioned, we've poured tons and tons of information and training and ideology into this brain, but it is still considered in beta, and it does require ChatGPT 4.0 in order for you to access. But we'd love for you to gain the visibility with it, make sure that can help you elevate and grow your funnel. And hopefully after today, this is going to be a playbook with this tool that's going to really help scale your business exponentially. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it resourceful, and it's going to be a great tool that's going to help support your growth within your company. Thanks for watching.